What do you do when you know that God calls you victorious, but you still lose?
Loss affects us. I know that it affected me, but I want to show you what I discovered in the loss. Welcome to Jules, Nuggets for Transformation, Episode 3, When Life Breaks.
I know it may seem rough, feels like you're giving up.
Allow me to paint the picture. You get married, you get your dream job, you turn 30, you become a senior pastor, you hear God and you bring people into a clarity of the scriptures, you empower people, you see people's lives changed. Your covering moves in and transitions the church and its members to missionary work. You sacrifice all. You go from practically a $90,000 household to a $0 household, living on faith after pulling money from every resource you could tap. You do this for almost 2 years, and then God sets you free. You pick up the pieces. You think that that's it. You still have your faith intact. And you still want to help and empower people, but more disappointments happen. More people let you down. More people see you as a threat. You become disjointed, conflicted, and broken. And then just when you think it's over, you lose the last identifier of that 30-year-old dream season. Husband. My life broke.
I would like to tell you that I put it all back together, that I have some shortcut, quick fix to, getting your life back to feeling like you're whole again. But what I'm going to do instead is tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you that, oddly enough, it was in those times when my life was the most broken, in those times where it was shattered, it was mangled, where the most dysfunction occurred, where I realized more and more over time that my life was supposed to break. I know that's not what people want to hear, but the sooner that you recognize and you realize that that's what needs to happen, that you need to realize that it's supposed to happen, the sooner you'll actually get free. So what I'm trying to tell you is that God actually broke my life in order to save my life.
Yes, you unravel me with a melody, and you surround me.
The worst part about my life breaking was that I didn't understand how much damage was done. Because I just kept going forward. I was using all these disappointments as actual fuel. And what I want y'all to know is that that's like horrible energy to run on. Because I was just using all this anger to push me forward. But I wasn't doing anything to heal myself along the way. I was just kind of trying to numb myself to that level of pain because I didn't want to feel it. The reality is you need to feel it. Like, you need to feel it so that you know that it's a real thing. And that's when you can really start to deal with it. So when I start talking about the shattered pieces, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you actually putting yourself in a position where you can see that these things do cause damage. You know what I mean? I was thinking that I was supposed to be strong, that I was supposed to be a man, that I wasn't supposed to feel. I was wrong. I got promotion at work, I was breaking. I found love again, I was breaking. I was still trying to inspire and uplift people, empower them. I was breaking. All these things were happening, and if that was still a part of me that was breaking, that was crumbling. And I don't know if you recognize it, but if you're really listening close, you can start to realize who I'm mad at. I was mad at God. And eventually, things went dark.
I was battling the onsets of depression. My body was literally being affected by the stress. My personality started changing. I became angry and indifferent. I was cussing and plotting and consuming entertainment and things and affection and anything to avert me from the breaking. I became disappointed with myself. I knew this wasn't me, but I was drowning in my own pity. My light was gone. My drive was gone. I felt like I played the game right. I followed the rules but still failed. I couldn't shake that feeling. It made me feel inferior. It made me feel insecure and purposeless. I didn't want to play the game no more. Like, what's the point of playing this game when the rules are broken, when the competition is fixed?
In retrospect, what I want you to know is that every event, it broke me and it humbled me just a little bit more. I was trying to hold it all together, and what God was trying to tell me was to let it go. One of the craziest realizations that I can see is that I couldn't hear God telling me to let it go because I was too concerned with what my version of victory looked like. And sometimes that can become the most damaging thing, because what our version of victory may not look like what God's version of victory is. And we're holding on to something because we want to see that thing play out the way we have it played out already in our mind. We want to extend the season of it, but that season is done. And God's trying to move you into another season, and you can't go to the next season because you're still holding on to the last one. Y'all, hear me. Man, sometimes the victory does not look like that. It doesn't.
Man, I think I became so caught up with being an instrument of God, of hearing from heaven and manifesting it on earth, that I missed something. That God doesn't need me to perform the miracles and blessings in my life. God doesn't need a spotter.
The first solid step was forgiving myself and surrendering to God. I'm gonna tell you something, man. My version of deliverance was weird. But the most simplest way I can explain it is that I got in front of God and I just would not let go. I wanted to be free more than what I wanted my version of victory. And that's ultimately what God got me to. He got me to that point because of the frustration of just continuously hitting these walls. It's one thing when you just going through something. It's a totally different thing when you know what you're called to be and who you're called and who your father is, and when you know that you serve a God who's a deliverer. So because I know I serve a God that's a deliverer, I felt that was the most craziest thing in the world, that I couldn't get deliverance. So I just got so upset with the concept because I knew that it was a lie, that I got frustrated to that point. Like, God allowed the situation to frustrate me to that point that I got in front of him and I just would not let him go. I got like Jacob. I'm not letting go until you bless me. For everybody out there whose life is broken, I just want you to recognize this. That your process is specifically so that you can get what you got in your hands out of your hands. Man, like your version of victory, your story, whatever it may be, whatever you have in your hands, that's the thing that God wants you to move, because it's actually occupying your hands from receiving what God wants to give to you. Your substitute is taking the place of what God actually wants to give you, what God has in store for you.
Christ, the hope of glory inside us, a song of sons and daughters singing to their Father. Just want you to speak this in your voice.
I pray that for 2019, you allow God to get rid of the substitution. Whether it was a job, a house, a car, a person, a ministry, whatever it was, get rid of it. This isn't so that you can poke your chest out and say, that was only a substitution anyway. You know how sometimes we start acting crazy. But I want you to realize, man, you love that story. And the reason why, the proof that you love that story is that's why you feel bad. That's why you mad. That's why you upset, because you actually love that story. So don't walk around trying to be prideful about it being a substitution, because you didn't even know it was a substitution. That was your reality at one point. This episode is about being real, and it's about being transparent so that other people can get free.
Your plan might not have panned out successfully, but God's plan is destined to. In fact, He exists outside of time and space, so it already has.